Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Obviously, Romanian traditional shirt. I'm going to talk about Romania. So what's going on here? Tens of thousands of Romanians protest on the Bucharest streets. Why? Because the Constitutional Court in Romania, which is I think 9 people, decided to annul the elections. The results of the first round of elections were the so-called far-right Calin Georgescu won, and then in the runoff he was projected as winning with 60%. Now, people say, well, so what? What's wrong with that? Well, this is how democracy works. For the promoters of democracy, which are the Americans, when the American interests, their boys, are winning elections in the countries where their financial, industrial, economic interest and military interests want to enter. If their boy wins, then the elections were perfect and everybody shush through their media operatives. They hail the results. When their boy is not winning and their interests are not democratically winning, they will either take a dump on it. Oh, that's irregularities. We don't recognize that. They will try to overthrow that, and their media operatives will keep going and going and going to tell you that that person actually is illegitimate because they say so. So the same thing with Calin Georgescu. Calin Georgescu is a patriotic, moderate, I will say. Why do I say he's moderate? I will explain. Patriotic, nationalistic guy. Smart, calm, presentable. He's good example of a Romanian. But he attacks some extreme decisions Romania made, which is, I think, being occupied by outside interest. Therefore, he's himself now an far something. He's far from their extreme, so that makes him a moderate. That is, he questions certain things. Like, why should we pay this amount of taxes? I'm just giving an example in America. People say, well, because, why do we wear seatbelts now? Oh, because, why are we not allowed to speak over, on the phone while we're driving? Can I scratch my balls when I'm driving? Why can't I not speak but scratch my balls? Things like this. They don't ask these kind of questions. They just take it. In Romania, Calin Georgescu started asking, well, wait a second. Is Romania okay being in NATO the way it is? This could be just a trampoline for NATO invasion or attack on Russia. Why should we hate the Russians? Because they tell us so? Shouldn't be interested in Romania's interest and not in other people's interest? Why should we support Ukraine against those guys? And so on. He asked logical questions like, hey, what's going on? That was not good enough. He has to follow the party line, which is NATO perfect, US perfect, European Union almost perfect, Russians evil. Whomever these guys designated evil, you're supposed to do it instinctively. Boom, boom, or reflexively, whatever, you know what I mean. So let me show you. I have about 8 articles to show you how this is portrayed, what's happening in Romania. The Romanians woke up somehow by a party, and the party is a far-right party with tens of thousands of supporters. Is that still a far-right party? Could be, but it seems like if you have a big majority of people supporting you, then you become the mainstream. I will explain. Romania erupts as annulled election triggers mass protest. Here it is. A lot of people over there. A massive demonstration took place in Bucharest, the capital, during which thousands of people demanded a second round of presidential elections. The Constitutional Court annulled the results of the first round, which triggered the largest protest so far. So what these guys are trying to do is to buy time. That is, speak with Georgescu, first, probably attacking him somehow. I don't want to say threatening him. Then giving him options. We're going to give you this position. You're going to go to the World Bank. We're going to give you this. This is your path. Just let it go. Right? Just go away. And in the meantime, the mass media will build something against him, trying to baboonish the Romanians. That's what's going on right now. They're trying to discredit him and make it in such a way that they convince him to just go away to the sunset. All right, let's go back to the article. On Sunday, a huge demonstration passed through Bucharest where participants called for a second round. I said that, right? In December, the court annulled the results of the first round in which pro-Russia candidate Calin Georgescu was victorious. Now, if I say, you know what, we're supposed to, by these aliens, we're supposed to hate people that they designate as hating. So if they tell me, well, you should hate Stalin. Okay, all right. But can you say that Stalin actually was good for Soviet Union and then Russia by providing them with atomic bombs? Can I say that? No, you can't say that. You are not allowed to. So if I say, well, Stalin was good in this situation, right? He gave them nuclear weapons. That means they were not sitting ducks against the freedom and democracy spreaders around the world. Remember, the Americans left us, Romania, in the arms of the criminal Soviets. Who were in charge of Soviet Union at that time? Not Russians. Go and check their names. So these are criminals as well, aren't they? Again, you can't say about the most evil guy in the world, well, he was a talented artist. All you have to know is that I can't remember how it was, the highest artistic institution in Vienna, whatever it was called, rejected him twice. Well, do you think they would have accepted you or me? I say, well, I think he had talent in that. Why? I saw his paintings. I'm a good painter. He's much, much better than I am. So, unless you're much, much better than that, you can't say the guy did not have talent. Shush. All you need to know that he was a wannabe artist that was rejected by the Institute of Arts in Vienna or something like that. That's all you need to know about it. But look at that and say, wait a minute. The same here. Calin Georgescu said certain things about Russia. Not that Russia is fantastic. Among other things, it's not like I say, you know what, because I don't like the color green, that means I love everything else. Or if I don't like color green, that means I automatically love the color, I don't know, blue. These guys, he said something about Russia that was positive. Niet, it shouldn't happen. That's why he's a pro-Russian, because he's against certain things that these baboons, the perfect ones, try to impose on us, on our mentality. And we have to hate those guys. Remember, we hate whomever these guys tell us. If tomorrow is going to be Yeltsin again, I guarantee you the Russians will be good. Overnight. They did this before. Look what happened with the reformed jihadist in Syria. He's the good guy. I don't know, 4 years ago he was a bad guy. Now he's the good guy. He's the reformed one, like a reformed rapist. Look, think about it. Without being charged, convicted, or he's just reformed. Would you go by that? If a rapist did something to your, would you say, okay, now he's not doing it anymore, people? Would that be suffice? I don't think so. Not for me. Maybe for you. Now this is what they say. The Alliance for the Union of Romanians, our party, organized the protest. Its leader, George Simion, to whom I extended an invitation to show up in my program, declared that demonstrations would continue until the demands were met. Up to 100,000 people on the streets. Police estimated the number of participants to be 20,000, although organizers claim there were up to 100,000. I don't know how many there were. Obviously, the police, in this case, I think, wants to lower the number. The other guys try to swell the number. Why? Own interest. Or if they really want to do something bad, they will say, well, there's 50,000 rowdy Romanians we have to intervene with, with the tanks. Let's bring the Americans. Oh no, they're right here, so let's bring them in. Or we can bring the Brits, the Brits. We can bring the French, the Dutch. All these guys, the Spaniards. They are all in Romania. They have military troops and installations in Romania. But Romania is a free country. It's just a member of the NATO alliance, partner. Okay, but do you have the same thing on the Western front of NATO, which is the United States of America, California? Are you in California? No. Get to the chopper! Are you over there? You're not over there. Why? You know who the boss is. All right, I'm going to show you how things change in the titles, going one by one with the titles, with the headlines. Tens of thousands protest in Romania's capital against annulled presidential race. And again, many of the demonstrators in Bucharest honked horns, pop, boop, boop, boop. Next one. Democracy is not optional. Thousands in Romania protest cancelled presidential elections. All right, here it is, my friends. He's a far-right, you see, populist. So the protest follows the court December decision to annul the elections just 2 days before a scheduled runoff. Why? He was projected with 60% to win. Now, far-right populist Calin Georgescu had stunned many by winning the first round on November 21st, prompting allegations of electoral violations and Russian interference. Allegations. For that, they annulled it. And he's a far-right populist. Okay, let's talk about this. He's a patriotic, nationalistic Romanian. That is, he loves his patria, the pater, the fatherland. He loves his nation, nationalistic. And he is looking for Romanian interest. He's presentable, he's an intellectual, but hey, I think he sympathized with the Garda de Fier. He's the Gardist. So, you know, the Garda de Fier, the Iron Guard from the 30s and 40s, they try to associate you with everybody else, so then the media operatives can take a dump on you. So that now is Zelia Codreanu and Sima. Sima were the leaders of Garda, the most prominent Gardiști. That's wrong. That's wrong. Okay, like in everything else, I would say there's good things and bad things. It depends on what you want to focus on. I'm not going to talk about the negatives of the Garda de Fier. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that. They did a good job for you to have it like they were bad. Why? Because the same aliens did not like people that were patriotic, nationalistic. Did they do bad things? They did. Didn't you? Didn't I? Emil. All right. So they try to associate him with that. I like when people are associated with being nationalistic or patriotics. I love it. And Mr. Calin Georgescu says, you know what, I love my country. I'm looking for my country's interest, not of the United States' economic, financial interest. Something wrong with that? Everything is wrong with that, it seems like. So he's the populist because they paint you, they attach to you all kind of bad connotation instead of saying, well, he loves his country, he loves his fatherland, he just reevaluates Romania's interest in the world. You can't. You're supposed to hate them because they tell you so. But when the next day they tell you now you love them, you are supposed to love them. In Romania was a continuous propaganda, regimentation in order to make us hate the Russians. When actually it was the Soviets, and who was in charge of Soviet Union? That's the whole scheme. They tried to deceive. It was the Russians. No, it wasn't the Russians. It was the Soviets who were in charge of Soviets. Some Russians of Soviet Union, some Russians were. Check the names. Would you dare? No, because they are writing the history for you. The mass media, the Hollywood, the curriculum that's why hate them. No, I didn't like the Soviets. I didn't like the communists. I didn't like Marx. I didn't like, Trotsky. I didn't like Lenin. I didn't like Stalin. None of this is Russian. Kaganovich, Yogoda, non-Russians all of a sudden. Do you know about them? Great. And more. All right, let's see the next article here. ABC News, tens of thousands protest in Romania's capital against annulled presidential race. And we have Snoop. All right. These guys, Romania's far-right march in thousands against annulled of elections. So it's far-right if you are like this. So far-right, it seems like becomes the mainstream. When the, let's say left, or the other way for you, left, center, right. When you push the political pendulum to the left as much, these guys here, if you bring this as a mainstream, we're going to look far right. All right. So for them right here, where the pendulum is right now with the woke garbage and all that, with diversity is our strength and all this, fuck your countries and so on. So when they pushed it here, everything what's on its right of the far left is going to become far right. But actually it's the center. Is the moderate. So Calin Georgescu is a far right from these guys, because if you push this as they say, they are the center, they're not far left, they're the center. Their ideologies are not far left, they're just the center. So if you shift it, obviously this guy is a far right, isn't he? So the same, this far right that are over there, it seems like it gets so numerous that it's going to become the majority of a country. If you got a majority, I think right now the far-right party has 20%, more than Starmer's party had in Great Britain. So Starmer is the prime minister. Starmer. He was not elected as Starmer. Hey, no, he was elected because his party got 18 point something % of the people who voted, not the 100% of the electorate. 18 some % of the how many voted? 60% of the 100%? I'm going to give you this. I don't know what the electorate is in Great Britain. I would just make some how do you call it, average. I'm going to use averages, estimates. So let's say Great Britain, let's say it has, I don't know, 70 million people. I'm just giving you 70 million people, Great Britain. From 70 million people, probably the electorate is about 40, maybe more. Let's say 40 million people are the electorate, the people who vote. Now let's put that as 100%. So 40 million. Now if you take from 40 million, you take, let's say 60% voted. So that's obviously from 40 million is about what? 20 some, 30, let's say 30 million, I'm just saying. 30 million voted from 40, let's say 30, I'm being generous. 30 million. From 30 million people who voted out of the 70 or whatever, you take 20%, 18 point something percent. So from 30, 18% is what? I don't even know, 5 million, 7 million, whatever it is. So these are the people out of 70 million, the total population, I'm just saying, okay? You got 7 million who voted for Starmer's party. So is he majority? He's not a majority, but that is their system. In my books, that's not democracy. Look, Great Britain has a king, no democracy. It's got an appointed prime minister, not democracy, with an 18% something electoral from the 60% that voted. And we have here Aur, which has, I think, right now 20% of the electorate, more than him. The Nazis had 33% or something, 30% more than these guys. So what I'm trying to say is the fringe far right becomes the mainstream party. So you can't just ignore it. Move to the next one. I'm so irritated with these baboons. All right, Bloomberg, Romanian Far-Right Party stages protest after cancelled elections. Right there. Not much diversity, as you can tell. That kind of diversity. That's why the Romanians must be weak. Thousands of Romanians took the street on Sunday in a demonstration organized by the largest far-right opposition party against the decision to cancel presidential election last month because of suspicions of Russian interference. Is that how you do it? So let's say some people have some suspicious, they will just cancel things like, oh, no. Not guilty, right? You're not guilty if you're proven innocent so far. I can go the other way around. Innocent until proven guilty. But no, in Romania it's a little bit different. We make it that way. All right, let me show you another title. Euronews, Romanian Far-Right Party leads protest against a new presidential election. So again, Romania was plunged into turmoil after Calin Georgescu. Who plunged Romania into turmoil? The sour losers. That's what it is. After Calin Georgescu, a far-right ultra-nationalist, won the first round of the presidential election. Ultra-nationalist. Only for allegations of electoral violations and Russia interference to emerge. Allegations, I'm telling you what an allegation is. I think you did that. I allege that you did that. And then the process goes like this. I make a report, right? I report this, make the allegations to a certain institution. The certain institution picks it up and starts an investigation. If they think the allegations are serious, they start an investigation and they conduct investigation, and after that the investigation is concluded and they come with a determination, with the outcome, and say, okay, this is the investigation. Now the investigation will be sent to the prosecutor's attorney's office. Correct? All right. And the prosecutor's attorney's office, they're going to look over the investigation and say, yes, that's enough grounds to suspect that a crime was committed. And then they say, okay, now let's start the procedure. And they're going to send you, we're going to start this and that. And then you go to court. And it's the time when you get to court, when you get, charged. No, and maybe or maybe not found guilty, or let's say convicted of something. After the conviction, you can fight the conviction. So you can fight it. So you fight again and you go again to court and so on and so on. So it's a big process. They are only at some people said something, and you have the courts who look and say, yeah, that's suspicious to think that. No process was started, as I think, as of now, with charging this guy, Calin Georgescu, or trying to get him to court. I think they had a court date, but I think that was cancelled. Why? What's going on now, I think, is this. They right now are working to have Calin Georgescu go on its own. And if he doesn't want to go on his own, they offer him, you're going to be on that position, I'm going to offer you this is going to be your career, walk away. And if he continues that, then we're going to say start with charges. And then we're going to get his laptop and going to find some porn over there, you know what kind. And then they will say, see, he's not a serious guy. And the mass media in the meantime will try to bombard you, Romanians, with how bad this guy is and how great Ciolacu is or other baboons over there. All right? That's how things work. Because this is freedom and democracy. Remember, you Romanians, when we were waiting for the Americans to come, waiting for the Soviets, they were called Russians to leave, even though they were Soviets. But anyway, who cares? Words have no meaning in this case, okay? So, or they do have, but we're waiting for the Americans. Okay, the Americans landed. What do you have? What do you have? You're under military occupation, cultural occupation, mass media, I'm not going to tell you, and the entertainment industry on whose grab they are. Political occupation. And what do you eat? Yeah, you eat better. Something that looks like food, smells like food, tastes sometimes like food. What's in it? All right? And this is Romania. Yeah, you are a fat guy in a cage. Instead of being like you see the pigs or you see the animals, the domestic animals are usually fatter than the animals in the wild. I want to be in the wild, free, and a little bit skinnier or fit than being a fat fuck in a cage. This is what Romanians are. This is what NATO is. This is what the countries, members of European Union and NATO, the populations are fatter, eating better, garbage, okay? But they are in a cage. I want to be outside of it. I want to be freer. That's what Calin Georgescu is talking about. He wants to look for the Romanians' interest. Bloomberg, Romanian Far-Right Party stages protest after cancelled elections. All right, my friends, I can go on and on and on with this. And this is what's going on with Romanian democracy. And this decision was not made, I think, by the Romanians. I think it came from far, far away. Remember when Jesus Christ, your Savior, was brought in front of Pontius Pilatus, and he said, "Your power, comes from far, far away," meaning Rome. That's where your power comes. So the same here, my power. So your decisions are made far, far away. You're just a pawn here. And unfortunately, the same aliens that want me crucified right now, they are telling this guy here what to do. And this guy is gonna crucify Jesus Christ, Romania, in the name of those guys and these guys right here. So yeah, he's a far-right candidate. So I think Romania is controlled by these guys. And Calin Georgescu, either he signs, like I think Trump signed in America. What do you think the media in America right now is pro-Trump, is not? Until about a few months, he was called a fascist, Hitler and all that. And all of a sudden, he's the, People's Magazine's Person of the Year. Really? I mean, come on. I mean, if you have eyes to see, you understand what's going on. The same with Calin Georgescu. So either Calin Georgescu is going to go away, he's going to accept the deal, he's going to sign certain things, or he's going to be allowed, after he signs the ultra-nationalist, he's going to sign the whatever Trump signed, imaginary thing. You don't have to sign it. Oh, the final solution. Oh, would you find it? Where is the order? Show me the order. Oh, there's no, you know why? Because all those guys, evil guys, they just spoke with one another. It was one, but there was not an order. But they spoke about it. It was, everybody knew about it. The same here. Everybody knows about this guy, that he's a far-right and all that. No decisions over there now. The same with Trump. Don't worry. You'll see. Trump is not going to do almost anything outside of what Biden did. Why? Because that's not our presidents being really in charge. It's something else behind. The guys with the those guys are the ones. So Calin Georgescu, I wish you good luck. And the other one, he's going to get convicted, or maybe he's going to have a mini stroke or a heart attack. I hope he's not going to have. And he's going to die of natural causes at, I don't know, 50 something or whatever, how old he is, 60 or something. All right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.